Hello class. So today we are going to start with the last chapter of Indian Contract Act 1872, which is the contract of agency. It is also one of the special contracts. So this contract of agency is a special one in the sense that in this case there is an agreement between two parties where one party allows the other party to do certain acts on his behalf and form contracts with third person. So the contracts which are being made by the second party, authorized party, with the third person are not being made for the second party but on behalf of the first party. Now let me tell you who are these first party, second party and third party. The first person who is authorizing the other person to do certain acts on his behalf is called the principal. The second person who is acting on behalf of the first person because he has been authorized by the first person is called the agent. And this agent, he will form certain contracts with third parties who will be called here the clients. So the contracts are being made by the agent, but these contracts are actually between the principal and the third party. And the agent is acting as an intermediary. So that way, what is an agency? Coming to the definition I gave above, agency is a contract between two persons where one person authorizes the other person to act on his behalf and to also form contractual relationship with the third person. So, what kind of situation is there when such contracts are to be made? Let me give you certain examples. Now, there's a person who wants to enlarge his scale of business, but he does not want to add new persons as owners. Like he's a sole trader, he's not intending to add certain uh, partners into his business, etc., because he's not willing to share his ownership and his control. But he wants to enlarge the business. So in that case, what he can do is he can appoint a person who will be doing certain jobs on his behalf and will be helping him in expanding his business. Like you are operating in Ludhiana and you also want to sell your products in other cities of Punjab. So now you can appoint your agents in Jalandhar, Amritsar, Patiala, Batala, etc. So that way you'll be able to expand your business also. And the person who is helping you in expansion, he's not sharing any ownership or control of the business with you, but he is working only as an agent. And then as an agent, you'll be giving him some kind of consideration which you may be giving or you may not be. Uh, Under this contract, Indian Contract Act, agency has contract of agency has not been defined, but they have given us the definition of agent, which is given under section 182. So what section 182 says is, it says that agent is a person who has been employed to do some act for any other person, or he is appointed to represent that other person while he will be making deals with the third person. So the person for whom he is doing all these acts and for whom to whom he is representing with the third parties is called the principal, and this person himself is the agent. So that way, through the definition of agent, they have tried to explain the system of agency. Now, what is a test of agency? Test of agency means how can we predict that a person who is doing something for you is your agent? Because in some circumstances, it so appears that somebody else may be assisting you, somebody will be your servant, somebody will be your employee. He may also be doing something as per your instructions, but is that somebody agent or he's just an employee or he's just a servant? So that depends upon these two tests of agency. The first test says if the person whom you have appointed, if that person has that capacity that he can bind the principal and he can do certain acts for which answerability will be that of accountability will be that of the principal. So acts are being done by the agent, contracts are being executed by the agent, but contracts made with the third parties, in those contracts, it is the principal who will be answerable and accountable for the third parties. Second test of agency is the agent making certain contracts with the third party, where the contracts are being made by agent with third party. But the privity of contract here means the contractual relationship that is coming up between the principal and the third party. So that means relationship initiated by the agent and the third party, but the relationship coming up legally is between the principal and the third party. So that means agent is kind of an intermediary who is framing certain contracts, and he's bringing together the principal and the third party, and he's trying to establish legal relationship between the two. So in that case, if he's satisfying these two tests of agency, then only we can call him to be an agent. A domestic servant may also be doing certain things for you, but that person will not be agent because he will not be satisfying these two tests. Next comes, like any other contract, what are the essentials of any contract of agency? So it has 5 essentials. First and foremost, there has to be an agreement between the principal and agent, through which the principal has appointed you an agent, and the principal has given you certain authority, and he has authorized to do certain jobs on your behalf. Second, agent must be acting with the representative capacity. He should be representing the principal when he is dealing with the third parties. And that way, he has the power to bind the principal for his acts to the third parties. Third essential is that the principal has to be competent. He should not be minor, he should not be of unsound mind, and he should not be a person disqualified under law as per the chapter 4 capacity of parties. Fourthly, the fourth essential says it is not essential that the agent is also competent. If the agent is not competent, for example, agent is a minor, you have appointed a person who is your agent, he is a minor person. Still, the contract of agency will be valid because, as we have done in minors agreement rules, an agent can be a minor person. So I'll be telling you why is it possible that agent can be a minor person in the upcoming topics. Next essential is that, as in any other contract, consideration is an essential element for any contract, but in case of the contract of agency, consideration may or may not be there. Principal may be giving some kind of remuneration, some kind of incentive, some kind of commission to the agent, or he might not be giving anything to the agent. That means even if this contract is without consideration, still it will not be a void contract. It will not be a void agreement. It will be valid. Why so? Again, referring to another question that we have done in chapter of consideration, no consideration, no contract exceptions. Therein we have done that agency contract can be there even without consideration. So it is the sweet will of the agent that he has allowed the principal that he can make him the agent. Agent will be working for you, but he may not be giving any consideration. Maybe he is doing all this for getting some training, some exposure, etc., and he's not asking for any consideration. So yet consideration is missing. Although consideration is missing, yet agent will be bound for his acts to the principal. Now the first question, long question which starts here is, how is agency created and how it is terminated? So first we'll do the first part, creation of agency. What are the various modes of creating agency? How can a person become your agent? We have different kind of modes of creation of that agency. First is agency by express agreement. We already know about express agreements, express contracts, wherein a person has been appointed an agent by express terms, either spoken or written words. He has been appointed to become your agent. So that is the first case. The second mode of creation of agency is agency by implied authority, or we can also call it to be agency by implication. Agency by implication is where the principal has not appointed you an agent through any written agreement or by spoken words. He has not given you any express authority, but the conduct and the behavior of both the parties that implies that a contract of agency has been framed between the two. That means in some cases the existence of of agency contract can be inferred from the circumstances of the case, as I'll be explaining you further in the subtypes. So the first subtype of agency by implication is the agency by estoppel. So agency by estoppel here means uh, you, as a principal, you have done something through which the third parties have been made to believe that this person is your agent. You have not appointed that person to be your agent, but you have done something which is giving a kind of an indication to the third parties or the outside world that you have appointed that person to represent you in certain transactions. For example, will be clear with these cases. Cases are important in this question because it is a very commonly occurring question in final exam. So please learn all these cases also along. So first case we are doing here is Kashinath Das versus Nishakar Raut. What happened in this case was there was a landlord. He has plenty of agricultural lands with him under his ownership, and he appointed a tehsildar. That this tehsildar will be managing his agricultural land. And tehsildar, while managing the agricultural land, he also let out some lands to the tenants. So that means tehsildar kind of acted like an agent of the landlord, and he made the agricultural land letting out agreement with the third parties and made them tenants. Actually, this kind of authority was not expressly given to him by the landlord, but it was held that in this case, when landlord has given the authority to manage the whole agricultural land, it is implied that he can also be making certain agreements of tenancy regarding the land as well. So in this case, it is an agency by estoppel. Second mode of creation of agency can be agency by holding out. Agency by holding out is when a person had been your agent in the past, then you cancelled his agency contract, but as per the past course of dealings, he did something similar in present also. So in that case, it will be presumed that because he was an agent in the past, so he will be presumed to be an agent in the present circumstances also, because the third parties might not be knowing that you have cancelled the contract of agency. So this will be more clear by this case, Truman versus Lauder. In this case, a person appointed another person as an agent. Then he terminated his services. But even after termination of his services, the agent kept using the name of the principal and for raising any kind of credit, although the agency contract was cancelled. But now these third parties, they were not aware that the agency contract has been cancelled, and they kept on giving some kind of credit to the agent in the name of the principal. And principal says, I will not be bound to return this loan because I have cancelled the contract of agency. But the court decided that in this case, third parties, they had to presume as per the past course of dealings that agent is still the agent of the principal, because this thing was not brought into their communication. So this is agency by holding out. Third case of the agency by implication is agency by necessity. So sometimes it so happens that there is a necessity, there is some kind of emergency wherein a person who was never your agent, he did something on your behalf. He was not allowed to do that something on your behalf, but in a situation of necessity, he did something on your behalf and for your benefit to protect your interest. So in that case also, he was not actually appointed the agent, but he will be allowed to be an agent by implication. But for that, these four conditions must be fulfilled. First, there must have been a real emergency and a real necessity. Second, that person who was not an agent but a supposed agent, he could not communicate with the principal. Thirdly, he was acting honestly and in the interest of the principal. And fourthly, he did something which was not allowed to him. So in this case, when somebody is doing for you in a situation of necessity, you should later on authorize that person because it was a real necessity and he was not doing it for himself, but he was doing it for your benefit. So again, it will be more clear with this case, Sims and Company versus Midland Railway Company. Now in this case, a person, he had sent a consignment of his butter through railways, and then there was a railway strike, because of which there was delay in transit. Because of that delay in transit, the butter was going to be spoiled. Butter will melt and it will be gone, and you will not be able to sell that butter. So in that situation of necessity, the railways, to protect your interest, to save your loss, they sold the butter, and they could not communicate with you that are they allowed to sell the butter or not, but they did it because they wanted to save your loss. So in this case, question arises, is railway company your agent? Did you authorize railways to sell that butter? No, but it was a situation of necessity. So by implication, they are your agent. So whatever they have done to sell that butter, you should be bound by that transaction. You cannot say that I will not own that transaction, because they are doing it for you. First fourth agency by implication sub part is agency between husband and wife. So in certain cases, it is allowed that wife can use the credit of her husband for buying necessities. So she is buying certain necessities in the name of her husband. In that case, it will also be agency by implication. She is allowed as an agent of husband. But these conditions must be there, that first, husband and wife, they were living together. Second, they were living together in a common establishment of their own. Thirdly, the wife has used the name of husband only to purchase necessaries. Fourthly, wife was not already being given any maintenance allowance by the husband for the household expense. So these conditions are satisfied, and wife uses the name of husband to purchase something. Husband will be bound by those transactions, and he will have to pay for this. The third main type of agency creation is agency by operation of law, where the law is imposing an agency on you. So it is there in case of partnership firms. You all have heard about partnership firm. There are partners and there's a firm. And we always say in partnership, partners and partnership firm are not separate entity, they are one and the same entity. So whatever partners are doing, they are doing on behalf of the other partners, and they are doing it on behalf of the partnership firm. So that way they are implied agents of the partnership firm. So this agency has come from the Partnership Act, Indian Partnership Act 1932. That is why we call it to be agency by operation of law. So whatever contracts the partners are making with the third parties to purchase goods, to sell goods, etc., that will be presumed to be done on behalf of the partnership firm. So this was the third type. And the fourth main type of mode of creation of agency is agency by ratification, which I'll be covering in the next lecture. Thank you.